was at a bit of a loose end of what video to do this week. See, I have done my 2 episodes of 1998 Was It Great? I have done my 10 years ago episode for September, and of course, earlier on in the month, we did the question mark for September 2014. So I decided, well, what could I do? Now, I was going to do a review of the Ladies and Gentlemen, My Name is Paul Heyman DVD, but I'm sure it's been done to bits. So I thought we could have some more fun if we looked at this one. Tonight we're going to be looking at the OMG, the top 50 incidents in WCW history. This is volume 2, of course, because volume 1 covers the WWF/E. Right off the bat, should know what to expect coming up from this one, because the front cover doesn't show any of the big WCW guys, you know, fling and stare. That's a good start, isn't it? Flair, Sting, Steins, etc. No, it's got Vince and Shane McMahon on it, which of course is number 2 on this compilation, but yeah, we'll get on to that one later. First thing, before we go on. Second thing, as actually is. Second thing, before we go on, is the oh my god music is so irritating. It's one of the reasons, it's taken me about 3 days to watch this DVD. Part 1 of it. I watched it, this is the second time I watched it. The first time I watched it with a friend, and we watched it all in one go, and by about the 20 moments in, you want to kill just because of the OMG, oh my god music. It's so irritating. Yeah, so that made me want to watch it in small bits. And of course, I've wrote quite comprehensive notes on quite a few of these. I've got 12 pages of notes to get, sit comfortably. A lot to talk about. This might take a while, this one. Number 50. Oh, yeah, third thing before we go on, sorry. This review just covers the first disc, which is the countdown disc. I will talk about disc 2 and 3 briefly at the end of the list, but I just thought, yeah, if I talk about all the matches as well, this DVD is already, look down below, long. I mean, it could be double that if I talked about the discs 2 and 3. Should we go through the countdown? Oh yeah. Number 50, the Junkyard Brawl, Bash at the Beach 1999. An okay idea, I would say, on paper. Fucking terrible idea in practice. Okay, matches in an honest to God junkyard. It has 14 guys, and the only way to win is to climb over the fence and escape on form today already, aren't I? Escape the junkyard. Winner gets the WCW Hardcore title. Sounds simple, right? Many problems. First thing first, they use a helicopter for the majority of it, so you can't make out who's fighting. It's just this guy's fighting that guy, but it's from down there, so you can't really see anything of it. Secondly, legitimate injuries suffered because it's a legitimate, honest-to-God junkyard, so people got hurt in this. Thirdly, barely promoted the match, so it drew 0 extra buys to the pay-per-view, so was pointless. Regal says that whenever he saw the spotlight coming, he brawled with anyone nearby, and as soon as it gone, he hid in a car. And he says this is one of the most ridiculous things he's seen in the business. Cody Rhodes makes his first appearance as a talking head on this one. And he comes across as probably the most knowledgeable person on this DVD. He comes across as a legitimate fan of the product at the time. And what that means is that it means he's refreshing. It means that he's not just spewing the lines out. Someone like The Miz, for example, is on this DVD precisely 1 time. And on other DVDs that Miz is on, he just sounds like he's reading from a script, whereas Cody doesn't on this one. Anyway, this pay-per-view was headlined by a tag team title match where the title was on the line. Sorry, a tag team match where the world title was on the line. Gosh, I'm really on shit. We're already on the first one so far, aren't we? It's odd because I remember reviewing this show as part of my 1999 Suck series, but I can't find the video, which is strange, isn't it? Anyway, number 49, Hacksaw Jim Duggan turns heel. Fall Brawl 2000, this one. Justin Roberts, who also comes across as a bit of a super fan, starts us off expressing his disappointment, how disappointed he was with Hacksaw. Terry Taylor explains that there's 2 types of heat. There's good heat and bad heat, and this got bad heat. Basically, no one believed that Hacksaw Jim Duggan would turn his back on America. But you can see where they're coming from, because no one had done it before, apart from maybe Sergeant Slaughter, or was it Volkov, who was Russian, who became an American sympathizer? Sarge, that makes me like, I want my country back, fuck off. Yeah, it didn't go down well. It's a meh moment. This one feels like a filler. It's one of those it's all the shocking things, really. Number 48 is The Ultimate Warrior debuting on Nitro. I've just watched this as part of my 1998 Was It Great series. Cross promo. Yeah. Hogan Hogan's selling when Warrior comes out is just unbelievable. The way he's open mouth, the way his bottom jaw's going, oh my god, they fucking interviewed Tony Schiavone for this. Now, is this something that's happened on other DVDs, or is it just this one? I was so impressed with that. That really gave this DVD a legitimacy, I felt. God, this camera's all over the place, isn't it? This isn't my usual camera, believe it or not. I mean, I'm borrowing a camera. Alright. Anyway, yeah, I was, legitimately impressed with Tony Schiavone on this. That was really, really good. Dean Ambrose calls the Halloween Havoc between Warrior and Hogan one of the worst he's ever seen. So I've got that to look forward to in the next coming months. Lucky me, eh? Next, number 47, the 49ers match. Nitro, October the 2nd. Awful. Put 4 boxes above the ring. One contains the belt. Okay, match is Booker T versus Jeff Jarrett. First to get the belt wins the belt. So you got 4 boxes, like I say. Guess what's in the boxes? Go on, have a guess, because you won't guess. If you've not seen this match before, you will not guess, okay? The first one has a blow-up sex toy in it, because Russo, alright? Second one has a picture of Scott Hall in it, who hadn't been seen, fuck's sake, in WCW for months and months and months, okay? And it also got a massive pop when he pulled that out. Booker T's face when he pulls the picture of Scott Hall out is fucking gold. This third one has a coal miner's glove in it. Well done. And the last one has the belt in, which falls out before Booker T can get it. He picks up the box and the belt just falls out. Booker tries to fucking spin this one around, saying that he always gave his best. No matter what they gave him, he tried to do his best to entertain the fans, which I suppose is good. But this was Russo at his absolute worst, wasn't it? This was... Well, it wasn't, as we'll see later on, but this was dog shit. Tell you something, though. TNA liked this one. They did the Feast or Fired match because they liked this one. Also, I'm pretty certain that in the old memory banks, I've got Black Rain in a match like this in TNA, where it was his rat in one of the boxes. Let me know down below if you remember that, because I've got that one up here for some reason. Number 46, Jay Hunter's favourite ever match is the King of the Road match from Uncensored 95. It's Blacktop Bully versus Dustin Rhodes, wrestled on the back of an 18-wheeler truck. First person to blow the truck's horn wins. On Jericho's podcast recently, which I listened to only a couple of times, it's the Rose Brothers one, the Triple H one I've listened to. Anyway, they said they filmed loads of stuff for this one, and then they had checked if they could blade, because blading was a big no-no back then, and the office said, yeah, of course you can. So they did, and then when they saw the footage, why did we bleed? And they're like, because you said we could. No, we didn't, you fired. And they fired both of them afterwards. So everything you see in this match is from a long way off, so you don't see the blood. Cody talks about how bad the production values were to try and cover it, but he says, look, if I can't follow it, and I'm a huge fan watching a family member, how can anyone else follow it? There we go. I mean, you can't say much more than that, can you? Would love to know why Jay Hunter of OSW fame likes this match so much, but it's awful. Number 45 is Vince Russo. There he is again, restarting WCW on the April the 10th Nitro. Russo had said that he would never appear on screen, then comes out on screen. This was in April 2000, I should say. He comes out, strips all the titles. They interview Russo, to their credit, he's on this one. He says he owed it to the roster to do this, and that's the explanation you get. He felt he owed it to this roster to start again, and that's the lot. Kidman says he didn't like it at the time, which is good for him. It could have been a good thing if they booked the Millionaires Club versus the New Breed, or the New Blood, properly, but they didn't, so it sucked. Number 44 is Chucky confronting Rick Steiner on the October 12th, 1998 Nitro. Chucky of Child's Play fame confronts Rick Steiner because Rick Steiner is scared of Chucky. Do you know, that makes sense in some weird twisted way. They have a new movie out, I don't know which one it is, so they put Chucky on Nitro. This helps sell the match at Fall Brawl. Now bear in mind that at Fall Brawl 98, which is what I've got looking forward to, oh no, sorry, this was... No, it's not Fall Brawl. Is it Fall Brawl? It's Halloween Havoc, isn't it? It's not going to be Fall Brawl. Anyway, the point is, the match is Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner. We've been waiting a year for this match. It doesn't need any more promotion, I don't think. And having Chucky come out to help it doesn't work at all. This was all so that Rick Steiner could look stupid and basically sell for the doll, I think. I don't know. I want to see Rick and Scott beat the shit out of each other. I don't care about no doll. How's that sound? 43, Goldberg turns heel at the Great American Bash 2000. Russo, there he is again, promised something big at the Great American Bash, and he promised it was something that Vince McMahon could do nothing about, and that big thing was turning Goldberg heel. He'd just returned from the injury after putting his fist through a car window, as you do, and been out for ages. Daft on many, many levels because fans were still really into Goldberg. They were really, really into him, and Goldberg is just too nice a man to be that mean. Could Vinnie Mac do anything about it at all on the night? Could he bollocks? Would he have done if he could do anything about it? Probably not. Ring. It looks like he's going to spear Jeff Jarrett, and oh no! The big thing that Vince McMahon can do nothing about is Goldberg turns heel as spears Kevin Nash. Vince McMahon, you can see in his office going, no, there's nothing I can do about this. And you sat there thinking to yourself, what would Vince do about it? What would Vince do about that? You know, there's nothing Vince McMahon can do about it. Well, obviously, you book your own stupid fucking show. Vince doesn't have anything to do with who turns heel and who turns face. Also, it doesn't exactly rock the industry because it's what everyone just goes, oh, you fucking idiots. Goldberg was still on a roll. Listen to the fans chanting his name during this show. Listen to the fans buying his merchandise still. On Thunder and on Nitro the week before when Goldberg had returned. Remember, he put his fist through that fucking window. Almost fucking destroyed his arm there. He'd been out for months. Months and months and months. The fans still fucking loved Goldberg. There was no point in turning him. None. It was so stupid. Anyway, everyone tuned into Great American Bash to get their Hulk Hogan inflatable raft, as we know from my review of that show. So no one actually cared about Bill Goldberg turning heel anyway. The turn lasted for 2 months. Oh yeah, the best part of this match, right, I promise you, the best part of this match is when the Mamlooks are making their way to the ring, yeah, there's a little advert saying that if you order the Great American Bash, you will be sent a Hulk Hogan inflatable raft. Makes me think, god damn, why didn't I order this show back 10 years ago? I would have got me a Hulk Hogan inflatable raft. I live next to the canal. Can you imagine that? With just pootling down the canal, like, yay, I got me Hulkster raft. Whee! 42 is La Parka pins Randy Savage, July the 7th, 1997 Nitro. This, folks, was fucking amazing. Everything so far has been pretty shit, hasn't been? This was awesome. Savage and DDP are feuding, and before I go on, I must hold my hands up and say, look, I think on my 97th Heaven review series, which to be honest, I did 2 years ago and wasn't as well informed as I am now, I think I underrated that feud quite a little bit. Can't do anything about it, it was in the past now. Anyway, Tony, Paul calls Page was attacking the NWO. Tony calls it guerrilla warfare. He would attack and then he'd run away. They show one of my favourites, which we'll talk about later on, the Diamond Cutter on Hall. Anyway, we get this oh my god moment as it's La Parka versus Randy Savage. La Parka gets the shit kicked out of him. The match is pretty much a squash, yeah, until the last moment where Randy Savage does the flying elbow and La Parka gets his knees up, gets up and hits fucking Randy Savage with a perfect Diamond Cutter, pulls the mask off. It's Page 1, 2, 3. Absolutely stunning moment. It was so good. 41. The Four Horsemen break Dusty Rhodes' leg, September the 29th, 1985. Wasn't really a WCW moment, was it, technically? If you want to be a nitpicky gunt like I love to be, this was an NWA moment. Anyway, the Horsemen hold Dusty Rhodes down inside a steel cage. Flair comes off the top rope onto Dusty's leg and breaks it. Fans were so pissed about this that they were climbing the cage to get to the Horsemen. Arn Anderson says that he looks back on it and says it was scary. He realises that they could have been killed. And in a country that loves the guns, I'm pretty certain at least one of those people trying to get into that cage had a fucking pistol in the pocket and was trying to go and shoot them, or might have had a knife for a bit of stabby action, you know? They could have legitimately died. And the footage they show of it is you've got these fans climbing up and you've got the Horsemen trying to kick them off. And it's like, I'd love to know how they got the Horsemen out of the cage. Amazing. Number 40. I've just had the pleasure to enjoy Ralphus from 4 Brawl 98. Jesus! They show the clip where Jericho gets locked out of the door, where he's trying to get to the ring, and he goes out the door, and he tries to get back in, and the door isn't locked, so he's got to pretend to hold the door shut. Why show that? This is more telling the story of Jericho wanting to run with Goldberg, and Goldberg having none of it than actual Ralphus. Ralphus comes into it a tiny little bit, but it's more a chance to talk about the Jericho-Goldberg feud that happened but didn't happen, which I've got to look forward to coming up soon. But yeah, Bill Goldberg didn't do comedy, so the angle only goes as far as Jericho getting speared on Nitro, and that's that. It's one of those things. It makes you sad because as a fan watching it, you want to see Jericho get speared to hell by Goldberg, and you'd pay to see it. So put it on pay-per-view now. It's just a blow-away thing on Nitro. You just go, right. Oh, Ralphus in a dress. Yay. Next, 39. Bash at the Beach 2000. Oh my god. Again, another show that I've reviewed in its entirety as part of my 10 Years Ago series. If you'd like to go and watch it, I would love that. Hogan will not lose to Jeff Jarrett. So Hogan says he had a creative control contract, and he said, with straight face, Hogan said he'd never used it until this point. And you're just going, right, okay, you never used it. You signed for WCW 93, then at no point had you ever used your creative control. Bullshit, I call. Bullshit. So yeah, Russo, there he is again, says, look, fuck him. Let's just go and do it. Let's give him what he wants, and then we'll do something else. So Jarrett goes to the ring, lays down, Hogan covers him, 1, 2, 3. Russo then comes out and cuts a shoot promo on Hogan. And the next thing he knows, he's got a lawsuit over it. So because Vince Russo, the wrestling character, cut a shoot promo on Hulk Hogan, the wrestling character, Hulk Hogan went to court about it and brags about the fact that he won, and you just go, for fuck's sake. It's kind of like Spaz Phoenix doing a promo, taking me to court for the things that I've said about him on my vids. You know, it's one of those, look, if you take him to heart, you're a fucking idiot, like he did, because he's a fucking idiot. But yeah, wrestling character. Is Spaz Phoenix, is that his real name? I doubt it. So, you know, me ripping, I've got no problem with the man behind the character. I don't know the guy. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's so stupid, could only have happened in WCW. From the stupid to the awesome, number 38, Sting's entrance from a helicopter on the March the 16th, 1998 Nitro. This was fucking awesome. There is no other way to put it like that. Honestly, Sting had been descending from the rafters for ages, and I think it was they did a Nitro of so often. It's a spring break, something like that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. You guys always do. All right, and the ring was floating in a swimming pool because WCW, I guess. I have no idea. Anyway. There's no rafters for Sting to rappel from, so why not have him do it from a fucking helicopter? It looks amazing. The fact they managed to get him to rappel straight into the middle of the ring, just gold. So they have a stunt guy talking about how they did it and how it was all safe and how he did it first, and that is fantastic. And then straight back to the shit with number 37, Judy Bagwell on a pole match from New Blood Rising 2000. Cody Rhodes calls this one slightly entertaining. Let's go back into the past 4 years and see what I said about it back on my review. Speaking of bad though, we then got Buff Bagwell defeating Chris Kanyon in a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. This match was meant to be a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. Now you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, how in the name of fuck would that work? You see, I may not have the greatest wrestling brain in the world, but I've always assumed that a item on a pole match, let's call it for argument's sake a crowbar on a pole match, and that's a crowbar that you use to get a tire iron off, not crowbar the wrestler. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, crowbar on a pole match. So the whole point of the match is that it's a standard match, but if you can get the crowbar, you can use it. That is the purpose of the match, yeah? Now, a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. I don't understand how that would even work, because if you got Judy down, would you be able to use her as a weapon? Like, tuck and grab her by the legs and swing her into someone, So, let's go through this one, because I haven't gone through any of them yet. So, after brawling in the crowd, Buff takes control briefly. Kanyon hits a leg sweep off the second rope for 2. He snips off the turnbuckle pad, and for ages afterwards, why did that happen? He has the sit-down spine buster that I love so much. I found out, since I've watched this called the Whiplash Powerbomb. So, because a lot of people have been sat there going, what are you on about when you say sit-down powerbomb that Kanyon does? It's a whiplash powerbomb. I've said before, imagine you've got him in Oklahoma, in an Alabama slam position. He swings them up. As they're swinging, you sit down. It's such a beautiful move. It's so very, very nice. Long rest hold, yeah, it's a sleeper all the way. Oh, it's a Cobra clutch, sorry, it's not a sleeper. Anyway, it's boring as shit. And then, Cash Kanyon hits a Kanyon cut, it gets two, and then fucking David Arquette comes out. David Arquette does the obligatory running. And you're like, oh man! He hits Buff Bagwell with the greatest weapon he can find. All the weapons, there's ladders now. For the ladder match, there's chairs. Oh, no, he can't do that. He uses the dreaded fucking workman's hat of death to the back of Buff Bagwell, who, you sat there going, that was such a poor shot. It doesn't do anything. Fucking hell. He hits him with a helmet for two. A blockbuster on both men gets the win for Buff Bagwell. Like, Buff Bagwell wasn't going to win this one. Obviously, he can get Judy down. Chris Kanyon hits a Kanyon cutter. Arquette. I gave it half a star because, I think that sit down, I think that whiplash powerbomb would get quarter of a star in any match for me. I fucking adore it. It's such a beautiful move. But god damn, this one could have been a dud easily. It was only Chris Kanyon. Chris Kanyon saved this from being a dud. Buff Bagwell is fucking awful. So there you have it. Nothing really more to add to that, is there? Number 36 is the debut edition of Monday Nitro, September the 4th, 1995. I've got one word written down here, one word and one word only. You know what I think of? I think of one thing when I watch that first Nitro, or I think back to that first Nitro. You know what it is? Yeah, you know it. Pastamania, baby. Not fucking Lex Luger like you were thinking. Come on. Pastamania. Hulk Hogan's restaurant in the Mall of America where they sold pasta and Hulkaroos and shit like that. Pathetic. Nah, it is Lex Luger coming out when he wrestled for the WWF the night before was a genuinely shocking thing. Interviewing Lex was a nice touch and it's a legit shocking moment. This was, setting the tone for how Nitro wanted to be. And like I say, Miz's one talking head appearance on this, it comes across as, because he says, what? They've got that guy? Luger's there too? Something like that. And it's like he's got it written out in cue cards in front of him. There's no genuineness in that reaction at all. Number 35. Oh dear. Sid Carr being crushed on September the 27th, 1999 Nitro. I actually laughed at this. I genuinely did. The first minute of this is people burying Sid. Honestly, it is people ripping on Sid because he couldn't cut a promo to save his life. And basically, all of them are saying, look, let him just be there and big and menacing and let other people talk for him. Which is true. Sid... Goldberg gets Sid's car towed and crushed. Sid finds the wrecked car. Oh, God. It makes me smile. It actually makes me laugh, this one does. Because he... he comes in and he... What car number are you? 22, the guy says. And Sid's just like, 22! And he goes running, because there's two clips, you saw the one you see here, and there's another one that they did, because they crushed various cars. So the one they show here is they show... you say Sid going, why me? Why me? So good. Honestly, that's brilliant. Tony says, why not just have a match? Why just not let these two have a match? And he also talks about how expensive it is to do shit like this. Funny stuff. Not quite so. Well, actually, no, it was quite funny. It's number 34, the Chamber of Horrors match from Halloween Havoc. I think I haven't written it down. It's 1992. Jim Ross starts winning in the best way possible. He says, there are certain things in my memory bank that I have suppressed, and the Chamber of Horrors match is one of these events. Which speaks volumes about how bad this one is. And interestingly, I saw this match, oh man, years and years ago. This is probably the first WCW match I ever watched. This one was, or this show, because and a mate of mine brought around the tape for a sleepover at a mate's house years ago. I was probably about 13 years old, so this will have been 94, something like that, 95, 4. Yeah, something like that. So, of course, an electrified chair match, my 13-year-old pimply face was probably fucking ecstatic at this one. So the object of this big-ass cage match is that, you know, you're all brawling, and it's teams, honestly, it is teams. It's El Gigante, who's the future Giant Gonzalez, Sting and the Steiner Brothers, versus Cactus Jack, Abdullah the Butcher, Vader, and some guy called the Diamond Stud, who of course is Scott Hall, to you and me. Basically, it shows like this. It is a giant cage match, and in there there's another cage, and this cage contained an electric chair, legit. And the object of the match is to get one of your opponents, into the chair and then throw the giant comedy lever of doom, which is hanging up on side of the cage. Now, Cactus climbs the cage because he's seen Abdul the Butcher put Rick Steiner into the chair. One problem, Rick's recovered enough and belly-to-belly suplex Abdullah into the chair, and like I say, because he can't see and he thinks that Rick Steiner's in there, Cactus Jack throws the comedy lever and Abdullah the Butcher gets electrocuted. There's sparks, there's showers of sparks, there's smoke, and the Butcher dies. Or not. Jim Ross says the match was plain terrible, while Regal says that it looked good visually. We get an interview with the Butcher, believe it or not. I couldn't believe when the Butcher came up on my screen. It's like, holy shit, they actually got the Butcher, right? He gets to say 6 words, all right? They are, the people were screaming for me. Cheers, Butch. Cheers for that one. That was well worth my time. One of my favourite moments in this match, honestly, is... I could do a video on its own about this this show. I might do, remember I've started doing a Christmas review? I might do Halloween Havoc as my Christmas review, because that'd be fun, wouldn't it? My favourite moment in this match is the big-ass comedy lever of death and destruction falls down into the on position halfway through the match, so Cactus Jack has to scale the cage, put it back into the off position, and then carry on with the match, so that later on he can go up when because he's the only one who does this. He knows that he's the one who's got to throw the switch, so he looks up and he sees it's in the on position and goes, oh fuck. So he has to go back and put it into the off position, and of course, being WCW, they show that on camera. Also in this match, there was a referee had a camera on his head. That bit stuck out for me real bad. Yeah, I've got it written on my notes. Can I just say, by now, that oh my god is getting on my nerves so much, even though I'm sure they don't show it or play it as often as they do on the WWE version of this. So, next, the WCW movies from 1993. One of my favourite things in the WrestleCrap books is the story of the terrible mini-movies that WCW produced back in 1993. I've never actually seen them, so this was a nice little touch. Always featuring Cheatham, the one-eyed midget. Seriously. They wanted to have movies build up their feuds. Instead of having, just the standard wrestling TV, they'd have they created mini-movies to build them up. So, for example, on the first one that we see Sting and Bulldog hanging and banging at a beach with some kids until the evil forces of Sid and Vader turn up. Cheatham, the one-eyed midget, plants a bomb on the good guy's boat, and it's up to Bulldog to save Sting from ultimate destruction. Seriously, that's going to, make me want to buy the show, so I can see Bulldog and Sting versus Vader and Sid. You tried to blow up my boat, you cunt. Now you're gonna die, sort of thing, The other ones, there's the White Castle of Fear, where Sting goes to Vader's castle, where Cheatham's there, and then there's the brilliant, the spin the wheel make the deal one for Sting versus Jake Roberts, and that's Jake Roberts' only pay-per-view main event in WCW, and it has one of my all-time favourite lines from wrestling in it. I've seen this one, the other two I haven't seen. This one I've seen, it's just like, oh my god, Sting says, you think I'm afraid of you? You think I'm afraid of some wheel? Fucking yes. Spin the wheel, make the deal. It's like the Raw Roulette, if you're wondering. Spin the wheel, whatever match it lands on, that's the match you have. They end up having a coal miner's glove match, which I'm sure Joey will tell you all about in the comments if you so desire. And at the end of that movie, lightning bolts came out from Sting and Jake Roberts' eyes, and you sat there looking at it going, why don't you just do that in your match? Wrestling, suspension of disbelief and all that. This was wank, okay? Number 32, RoboCop at Capital Combat 1990. Yep. Horsemen took out Sting. They put him in a cage. Who's the only person who can save them? Well, save him, sorry. Well, the show is called Capital Combat: The Return of RoboCop. So I'm gonna guess it'll be RoboCop. And out he comes. RoboCop. RoboCop's the guy that I go to when I'm having trouble with haters. So, you know, fucking RoboCop, get out of here. Come on. When Peter Gilmore's calling me a bitch, you know, on the fucking comments, don't watch my fucking vids on if I'm a bitch. But yeah, when Gilmore's fucking getting me, it's like, RoboCop, come here. And he just goes sort that dickhead out, and out he comes. I am the look. No, that's fucking Judge Dredd. What does he says? Dead or alive, you're coming with me, or something. Oh, whatever. Anyway, why'd you watch my vids? Terrible. Absolutely shocking. Yeah. Gordon Soley has to try and put RoboCop all over. That is horrendous. So yeah, RoboCop comes out, bends the bars, and off we go. This wasn't a match, by the way. This was just an angle. This set up something else in the future. Jim Ross is the best part of this little clip. He says, and I quote, "Some people have said that I can't act, but I would debate that point because I acted like I cared about RoboCop." Best. Absolute best. While Tony says, I had just left the WWE, and I thought to myself, I need to call Vince and get my job back. Arn, always in character, is vexed about having to run away from fucking RoboCop. Number 31 is Canyon's bump. Slamboree, baby! So you know this one. Canyon takes the silly bump of destiny off the fucking top of the triple-decker cage after the match. He's launched off it, my mic awesome. Silly bump, looks good. I'm one of these in the minority that believes that because it was in the same venue that Owen Hart died, it might be a little bit poor taste, but it does look good. Number 30, we go back to 2000 again with the Human Torch match. On my review, I said, as part of my 10 years ago series, I called this match the single worst match I've ever seen, giving it a record -6 stars. I stand to this day that this is the worst I've ever seen. Even Cody Rhodes doesn't bother defending this one. He'll defend anything. He just doesn't bother. Again, go back and watch my review. Great American Bash 2000. We've already talked about it once. It's a funny vid, just because of the raft, if nothing else. But yeah, terrible show. And you guys like see me rant about WCW at the best of times. So that's one of my best. I got asked recently on the Q&A, didn't I, watch my vids you really like? And basically what I did is, when I saw this moment, I went and thought, right, what did I say about this? So I watched the whole, it's in 4 parts, I watched the whole thing giggling away through it, going, look, this was a funny vid. I was a very funny guy back in 2000. Number 29, the Horsemen ambush Dusty Rhodes and break his arm from October the 25th, 1986. Nice and simple, this one. The Horsemen stalk Dusty Rhodes in his car, trap him in a car park, tie him up, and then take a baseball bat to his arm. Dusty, like a fucking boss, said, look, make it, he screams at him, make it good. If you're gonna do this, make it a good shot. Fucking gold. And then, to make it that little bit better, they blank out his arm. When they actually do the attack, they blank it. Oh, it's that graphic sort of thing. Amazing. You wanted to see the Horsemen get home something fierce like this, and that was the whole point of a good angle, is it not? Number 28. Oh, Jesus Christ. We go back to 2000. Vince Russo wins the WCW Championship on the September 25th episode of Nitro. What could possibly be more shocking than a man's arm being broken? Well, how about Russo booking himself to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in a cage match against Booker T, no less. Goldberg spears Russo out of the cage, thus making himself the first person out of said cage and meaning he wins the match. Shit. How shit does Booker look if he can't even beat Russo with one move? Look at it that way, yeah? This is a non-wrestler, isn't it, Vince Russo? Surely, just punch him once and he goes down. It's like referees, you know, or hit your axe kick or something. It's one of those, suspension of disbelief is really, really, really hard when it's wrestler against non-wrestler, and wrestler doesn't just go, look, just lie down and let me pin you and it won't hurt, alright? That's what I should do. Because look, my finishing move, this axe kick that I do, really fucking hurts and it will break your neck. Your choice. But no. Anyway. Russo tries to justify it by saying he made people tune in to see what happens next. Now, I need someone to do this. Andrew Wolfpack, you're the man to go through this, right? This happened on a Nitro. Russo gave up the championship on the Thunder following. So I'd love to know, if you could, what the Thunder rating did, because I think he's talking shit there again. I do know that on the Nitro, Russo won the belt, drew a 2%. I know this, but I don't know the Thunder rating. How weird is that? But anyway, it did a 2.9 rating, yeah? Which sounds good, especially considering that's what Raw does these days, yeah? One problem, Raw did a 5.6 that night, because the WWF was shit hot in 2000. All the talking heads panic, other than Cody, of course. Cody said it was good. Now, there are two important things to remember. First one is this is the 22nd. I almost said second then. That'd be good. No, the 22nd time the WCW Championship had changed hands in the year 2000 alone. Don't worry, only 3 more title changes to come this year. Secondly, and this one's more important, I think, is that Vince Russo vacated the championship the next Thunder taping, alright? So which means, of course, is that no one beats him for the championship, which means that he can say for the rest of his days he is an undefeated WCW champion. So, from the shit to the good, we go for 27 as Bret Hart's chest protector from the March 29th, 1999 edition of Nitro. On an episode of Nitro, going out in Canada no less, Bret calls out and cuts a promo where he calls Goldberg a chicken. Now those are fighting words right there. You call me a chicken, bad juju is going to happen. It's that simple. He talks about how Bill Goldberg's a football player, and right here in Canada, you're in hockey country. Pulls off his top, got a Toronto Maple Leafs hockey jersey on. Crowd goes batshit crazy. As you can probably imagine, he calls Goldberg out. Goldberg, being called a chicken no less, comes fucking charging out, goes to spear Bret, and spears Bret. And it's all good. But one problem, what's that? Goldberg's not moving, and neither's Bret. Something's wrong. What is it? Bret gets up, rolls Goldberg off him, pulls the top off. He's got a great big metal plate on his chest, and it is amazing. Now, I need to ask another question here. March the 29th, 1999. Now, these two, they didn't meet on pay-per-view till Starrcade, did they? For the champion, the match that ended Bret's career. Am I right about that? I may be wrong. It's one of the reasons why I plan to do my 1999 series again. Number 26 is Eric Bischoff getting powerbombed off the stage to Great American Bash 1996. Cody says that Bischoff was like Vince. Everyone sort of knew that he was the owner, but they didn't talk about it. So this was huge, and it was, alright? Week after weeks and weeks of talking, the Outsiders took action. They're talking about the Bischoff, they're saying that they want a match 3-on-3 at Bash at the Beach, which is the next pay-per-view, which I'm sure nothing significant happens at all. Bischoff grants him the match, and they're trying to get who the third man is out of him, and Hall just punches him clean in the stomach, and Nash gets him up and jackknifes him off the stage to a table, and it's brilliant, and it makes Nash and Hall look like such badasses if they didn't already. And Tony does the right thing. He's saying he's just an announcer, he's just a man holding a stick, for goodness sake. This is pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, oh, what a segue. Lovely segue there. You'd think these write themselves, wouldn't you? 25, the finger poke of doom. January the 4th, 1999, Kevin Nash says that they wanted to reunite the NWO Hollywood and the NWO Wolfpack, put them all together, and then Goldberg has lots and lots of people to run through until he gets to Hollywood Hogan at Starrcade, I assume, in 1999. That's where Nash plugs it. Anyway, what bugs me to this day is that, if you want to know what I think of the match, right? As part of my 10 years ago series, no, as part of my 1999 Sucks series, once again, I'll put links in the description. In my 1999 Sucks series, I did a special edition of the Monday the 4th of January Nitro. Go watch it, it's funny if nothing else, because I'm full of a cold and you can't understand a fucking word I'm saying. And the video quality is fucking disgraceful, if I do say so myself. Anyway, the announcers big it up like it's match of the century. Tony says this is what WCW is all about. Imagine you're watching WCW for the first time and this is what WCW is all about. Hogan versus Nash. 30 seconds later, when you've got a new champion and you're thinking to yourself, what, this is what WCW is all about? Well, fuck it, I'm going to go watch Foley win the championship on the other side. Number 24, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio from Halloween Havoc 1997. One of the shows that I missed last year because I had the hump about reviewing WCW because of NWO Wolfpack. I'll give him that credit. Don't worry, we'll go back and on a week where I've got nothing to review, like I've had this week. This would probably something be good to go back and do, wouldn't it? But Mask versus the Cruiserweight Championship match is an absolute classic. It's easily the best WCW match of 1997 in my opinion. Hell, it might be the best match. It depends if you consider the Hell in a Cell match between Michaels and Taker to be a 5-star classic as well. Finish is unreal. Eddie goes for a top rope Razor's Edge that Ray counters in midair into Rana for the win. Incredible. Number 23 is DDP turns down the NWO from January 13th, 1997. This was such a good moment. I've just touched on it very briefly a moment ago. NWO want Paige to join. Paige won't join. Rinse and repeat for a while. And on this night, Paige beats some guy in a squash match. Out come the NWO. And bear in mind, at this point you had, I think, Bischoff and Ted DiBiase on commentary, and they were welcoming Paige to the NWO, saying, "We love you, Paige." And yeah, puts on the shirt. And it's like, the way Paige describes it is absolutely bang on, is that the whole arena just goes, oh, who is going to stand up to these fucking jackasses? Nash turns around and hey! To the crowd, and Hall goes over, shakes his hand, and fucking Diamond Dance Paige doesn't let go of the hand and just drops him with a fucking diamond cut, and it's fucking glorious. It's such a good moment. And yeah, he leaves to the crowd for the first time, and the crowd have a new hero, which is great. Number 22 is Lost in Cleveland from 1993. Holy shit, right? This is one of those things where you watch DVDs like this, or it's one of the reasons why you watch DVDs like this, because, you've heard about I've read about this in Foley's first book, but I've never seen most of it. So Cactus Jack is taken out in a match with Vader and ends up in hospital, right? Where he loses his mind. We see some bird pretending to be a honest-to-God serious news reporter, giving us updates about his condition. He talks to Jack's wife, Colette, in a little interesting one, both in the book and on this. Foley says that they considered Foley's real wife, Colette, to be too attractive, so they got an actress who was ugly. Colette Foley's fucking gorgeous, so it's one of those, I suppose that makes sense. We see Jack living in a hobo camp where he's shaved his eyebrows off, and he thinks that he's a former sailor, so he speaks in pirate talk, and it's fucking awful. How this makes me want to watch a pay-per-view, I've no idea. I really don't. I mean, they did it over 11 weeks. Foley says it was terrible, and from what I can see here, it looks terrible. How's that sound? Number 21, speaking of terrible and stuff that doesn't do anything to make me buy a pay-per-view. Number 21 is Ric Flair going nuts on Nitro in April 1999. Rowdy Roddy Piper as WCW president. Basically, Piper and Flair are feuding over control of WCW. Piper has the president, Ric Flair, committed to a mental hospital. So we get Flair in his robe. We'd had promos from Flair in his boxer shorts going fucking nuts and elbow dropping his jacket and shit on Nitro, because I want to see that, don't I? Where I can see Stone Cold Steve Austin on the other side. We see Flair in his robe and his boxers interacting with other mental patients for some reason. Again, it doesn't help me sell the pay-per-view. It doesn't make me want to buy the pay-per-view at all. For some reason, Scott Hall's in the mental asylum at one point. Basically, it's like that first little bit. We don't know how long this goes on, but we do know that it leads to a match at Slamboree, baby, between Piper and Flair for control of the company, which Piper won. So that's something. It's one of those. They needed to flesh this one out a lot, because to just say, look, Flair went nuts, and that's that. It's not enough. Number 20, Pinata from I've just pressed down too far. The November the 15th, 1999 episode of The New. Take some cruiserweight guys, a Pinata, a check for $10,000 and some sticks, and let them fight, because Russo. Now, this DVD talks more about the Oklahoma character than anything to do with the match. Oklahoma is on commentary, played by Russo's mate Ed Ferrara. Basically, he did JR with the volume turned up, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was really mocking him hard. Ed Ferrara, Vince Russo didn't like Jim Ross at all. They made a character to mock Jim Ross, and particularly his Bell's palsy. Because wrestling. Yeah, it's one of those, because wrestling. Wrestling is one of those few entertainment things where you can create a character just to mock someone else. It happens quite a lot, believe it or not. It will never draw money, and it will take up TV time or pay-per-view time that someone who actually needs it could use. But wrestling does it because they can do that. I would never do that. I don't run a wrestling company. It's interesting to note that I think, might be wrong, both Ed Ferrara and Vince Russo were on Jim Ross's podcast recently, were they not? So they're all happy with it these days. I think at the time, we can imagine that Jim Ross was very upset about it. Number 19, one of my favourite things that I've reviewed this year was Slamboree, baby! 1998 with Ciclope. This was gold. Dean Malenko lost a match to Jericho. Mean Gene Mean gives him a such ribbon, so rips him to bits on the mat. If you lost here, you lost at Starrcade, yada yada yada. Where does Dean Malenko go from here? And he says, home. So Slamboree, baby! you've got a Cruiserweight Battle Royale, and some guy called Cyclope makes his debut, never been seen before or since. And he not only enters, but he wins because Juventud Guerrero eliminates himself. He shakes his hand, says, good work, off he goes, because he knows who it is. It's all good. And I promise you, if you've never seen this pay-per-view, please go and watch this moment, because it's so good. When Cyclope pulls off his mask and it's revealed to be Dean Malenko, it's one of those, this is why we watch wrestling, because it's fucking awesome. Wrestling's bollocks, right? We know this. When wrestling's good, it's the best, and this moment was incredible. Go watch my Slamboree review. Slamboree, baby, review from 1998. It was part of the 1998 Was It Great series. Trust me, gold. Absolute gold. Number 18, Parking Lot Brawl, July the 29th, 1996 Nitro. Oh, this was good. As the NWO tear apart everyone in the car park. It don't matter if you're face, it don't matter if you're heel. If you're in that car park, the NWO are going to beat the shit out of you. The classic one, I mean, the classic shot is Rey Mysterio getting lawn darted into the fucking side of the thing. Really cute here is Cody Rhodes ringing up his dad, because he's watching it on her home. Ringing up his dad, asking if it was real. That's fucking brilliant. But also speaks volumes about how real this felt. It's one of those times where it's like, we know wrestling's fake, but this shit's real, isn't it? That's not meant to be happening, is it? Tony says people thought this was a shoot, which bothers me. So I don't say shit like that, man. You don't use insider terms. It's bad enough when they say, yeah, I don't agree with it. If you're going to say face and heel, fair enough. But shit like, this was a shoot. Yeah, the thing is about things like that, you and me watching this now, right? We're going, yeah, it was a shoot, well done. But there's going to be people watching this who don't know what that means, and that's not cool, all right? Anyway, real police were called. Real police. They had fake police there and fake ambulances, but because of the fake police and the fake ambulances and people watching this on Nitro, people rang up the real police. That's incredible. Number 17 is Medusa throwing the WWF Women's Championship. I told you this video was going to be long, by the way, didn't I? Medusa throws the WWF Women's title into the trash can December 18th, 1995. Alundra Blaze was the Women's Champion in the WWF. The DVD, to their credit, they give her about a minute, maybe 30 seconds, maybe 30, 40 seconds, where they really put Alundra Blaze over hard. And then, it's like, imagine this thing is 3 minutes long, yeah? Because all these things are very, very short. Imagine it's 3 minutes long. For argument's sake, first minute is Alundra Blaze was the best. Alundra Blaze was amazing. Alundra Blaze was a role model to me. And then the other 2 minutes are burying the living shit out of her. And quite rightly, says I. Alright, she did it against her will, because Bischoff made her do it. Alright? She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have to do it, and she did. Alright? So yeah, I know it made her against her will, but she did it. She had the belt. She said, what shall I do with it? Bischoff says, bring it to Nitro. They did. She wasn't really keen on the idea, but she went along with it anyway. She did it. She became Medusa. She cut this promo where she ripped it, and then she did nothing in WCW, did she? And then, of course, as soon as WCW was gone, she was blacklisted from the business and will never be heard of again. One of those things. Number 16, the streak ends at Starrcade 98. Another one that I've got to look forward to. Terry Taylor says that Nash was on the booking committee, and Nash decided it was time to get the belt off Goldberg. I'm going to guess. This is just my guess at this moment in time. I'm sure people will let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But with Goldberg, that people like Nash probably got in Bischoff's ear and said, look, ratings are down, pay-per-view buys are down, who's your champ? Whose fault is it? Goldberg, think it's time, don't you? And Bischoff probably looked at those hard facts and gone, yep, yeah, you're right. Now, I would argue that Goldberg doesn't have anyone to feud with until Halloween Havoc, when he's got, when he's feud with DDP. He's always feuding with DDP. Always feuds until he gets to Starrcade. I mean, shit. And they're not going to draw money or not draw much rating. I mean, he had the match with Goldberg, didn't not really with the Giant after fucking Road Wild, for example. But yeah, there was no programs. There was no decent people programmed to be his opponents to get to Starrcade or whatever. Fucking shite. That's one of the problems I feel. Random door opening and closing there. One of the problems with hot-shotting the championship, like we'll talk about later on, or we've talked about in the past about Goldberg getting the title just on a random episode of Nitro and losing the company fuck tons of money, is that with the right build, they could have had, they could have put shit like this in place, and they didn't. Anyway, Hall tases Goldberg, Jackknife gets the win on the title. Heyman, Taylor, Ted DiBiase talk about how Nash booked himself. DiBiase ending with, to me, the booker doesn't wrestle. We'll talk about more on this when I review Starrcade in a few months, but it was the wrong time in my opinion. Okay, number 15, Ron Simmons wins the World Championship back in 1992. do. It's crazy to see how many people see Simmons and just go, damn. That's it. That's Simmons' career in a nutshell, isn't it? For most people, he just, that's the guy who says, damn. Much more to him than that, much more to him than the nation and being a member of the APA, was the fact that back in '92, he was the first African American to win a world championship, beating Vader for it. It was a feel-good moment. It was good winning with the power slam as well. And Vader, who was a talking head on this one, appears a couple of times. You know, he has a good laugh about it, and it's all good. It's a good moment. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Number 14, Sting's decision. Uncensored 97. When the NWO started up, they, like with DDP, tried to recruit Sting. I think they did an angle where they had a fake Sting attacking Luger, and Luger thought it was the real Sting. I may be wrong. Let me know. We normally do. So Luger thought it was the real Sting who attacked him and had an row with him, and Sting was so upset that Luger thought it was him that he sort of withdrew into himself, fucked off into the rafters, became the black and white, the crow gimmick as you were, and then Uncensored 97, after just been seen up in the rafters for a while, he descends from the roof with his baseball bat, whacks everything in sight, and then just leaves Hogan and Rodman, and he's got his bat and he points him at that. Oh man, place goes absolutely bonkers. And one of the things they don't show here is one of the things that I said in my review, which is that Hogan's like, look, if you're such a big tough man, drop the bat, and then we'll do it. And of course, Sting just kind of like drops the bat. Fucking great. Number 13, Terry Funk power drives Ric Flair through a table, 1989. I'm sure my friend Joey is salivating at the prospect of me reviewing this one when I get the night work in a couple of weeks' time. After Ric Flair wins the championship from Steamboat at Wrestle War 89, I hope that's right, Terry Funk, who had been on the one of the outside judges, because there was 3 judges for the match, gets in the ring, congratulates Flair, asks for a title shot. When Flair refuses, Punk says he's only joking, and then absolutely batters Ric Flair, concluding with a pile driver on, not through, on a wooden table. It's one of those moments in wrestling that's just perfect. I mean, it's just perfect, because Flair's a heel. He cuts a promo after the match thanking the fans, and then you've got Terry Funk, who's old grandpa, retired Terry Funk, and he snapped them over fingers, turns heel, and Flair becomes a babyface, and off you go. When I met Terry Funk recently, yeah I did, I told him that this feud was one of the best things I've ever seen, and I genuinely am looking forward to reviewing the year 1989 in the NWA when I get the chance. This was fucking great. Dennis Rodman is number 12, 1997. Rodman's fame and notoriety brought in viewers who wouldn't normally watch wrestling. He fucked off a basketball practice to attend a Nitro, showing that he was dedicated to the cause. I'm sure that really endeared him to his fucking employees, didn't he? Anyway, here on the DVD, it doesn't really say much. It shows a couple of clips of him as part of the NWO. Hornswoggle gets his one appearance the night, saying that Rodman and the NWO were a perfect fit. Cheers to that one, dude. I suppose that is right. Basically, the way I feel about Rodman is it goes like this: is that yeah, his notoriety and his fame brought in additional viewers. I'm sure they did. He shouldn't have been anywhere near the ring. All right, don't let him in the ring. They show, to emphasise this fact for me, they show a guy, I can't remember who it is on the floor, and Rodman's laying in with his punches, and every single one of them misses. Every single one. If you're going to do that, hit him properly. Don't make it, doing that looks shit, doesn't it? Because, it's obvious that it's missing. Make him fucking hit. If you can't do it, just hit him. I'm sure Big Tough Wrestler can take it, because it sounds great. Doesn't it? Number 11, the NWO parody, The Four Horsemen, September the 1st, 1997. A good 6 months before the infamous, or the more famous, I should probably say, DX parody of The Nation. And I say it's more famous because the WWE have been going, 14 years since WCW, 13 years since WCW went out of business. So this one has been pushed. The DX one has been pushed a lot. And of course, according to WWE, it's one of the turning points of the war was the parody, wasn't it? The NWO came out on Nitro and tore into the Horsemen, particularly Arn Anderson, who had cut a moving and heartfelt retirement speech just a week before. Say what you want about Kevin Nash, and I routinely rip him to bits every chance I get. But goddamn, the man is funny, and his Arn Anderson impression was absolutely spot on. I've said many, many times, I think this was funnier and more entertaining than the DX one, but it was also borderline crossing the line because it was quite a little bit disrespectful to Arn. There was heat between Arn Anderson and Kevin Nash for quite a while after this. Kevin Nash has since said that I was right. The Shockmaster is number 10. August 1993. Is there a wrestling fan alive today who hasn't seen this? I mean, is there anything I need to add to this that we've not spelling on Botchamania? I've written a paragraph just in case, but I'm actually going to leave it. It's just the Shockmaster. You know what it is. I know what it is. Let's move on. Number 9 is David Arquette winning the World Championship to help promote the truly woeful WCW produced film Ready to Rumble, reviewed expertly by the OSW guys. Go have a look at that. They have this genius idea to put the World Championship belt on David Arquette. When I saw DDP live earlier this year, excuse me, I being the happy, positive guy that he is, when someone asked him, how did you feel about dropping the title to David Arquette, I really thought he was going to spin it so that it was a good decision, it was a good move. Nah, Page fucking panned the shit out of this. Fantastic. Arquette, to his credit, big wrestling fan, but he had no training at all. He won the belt in a tag match. It was Page and Arquette versus Bischoff and Jarrett. And Arquette speared and pinned Bischoff to win his tag team partner's belt. If you can believe that shit. John Cena makes his one appearance of this whole DVD. He says, David Arquette is champion. Not cool. That's it. Cheers, John. Russo says he still has no regrets. He says it got them publicity and we're still talking about it today. So it worked. And it's like, okay, if that's the way you look at it, fair enough. Number 8, still terrible, awful, worst world champion ever, apart from Vince Russo. But hell, yeah, at least Arquette fucking defended the belt, didn't he? So yeah, Russo's the worst champion. Number 8 is the Monster Truck match of Halloween Havoc 1995. On top of a building, Hogan and the Giant fight not only in the ring, no. They fight in monster trucks. It looks like it's sumo rules. You've got to get your truck out of there. Anyway, the point is, after the match, they start brawling out of their trucks, obviously, and Giant ends up on a ledge, and Hogan pushes him off and kills him. By the looks of things, because this building's pretty damn high. But no, Giant fell into the lake that's next to the building. So I'm going to guess this building sort of overhangs the lake, because surely if he fell just onto the nearest edge of the lake, it wouldn't be very deep, so he would have died anyway. But no. Hogan versus Giant isn't just meant to be a monster truck match. This is the main event of this pay-per-view. So in the time it takes Randy Savage to beat Lex Luger, approximately 6 minutes, the Giant not only makes a full recovery from death, but makes his way back into the arena, blow dries his hair, and makes his way to the ring. Because when he comes out, he's not wet at all. His hair is bone dry. So like I say, he's taken the time to be a professional. He's got to look good, So he's blown drying his hair like a fucking idiot. In the match, Jimmy Hart attacks Hogan, turning heel, and somehow the Giant wins the belt via disqualification. I don't know how. And then we get to see the infamous Yeti. It's the Yeti! Screams Tony. He and Giant lock. Oh, it's fucking horrible. It looks like they're meant to, Giant and Yeti are meant to be putting a double bear hug on Hogan, but instead it just looks like, as Regal says, it just looks like they're both dry humping Hogan. It is horrendous. Oh, it's bad. Number 7 was a big surprise for everyone, I reckon, because Rick Rude, making his appearance on the November 17th episode of Nitro from 1997, shocked everyone, because Raw at the time, they did one show that was live, one show that was taped. So the week before, Rick Rude had been on the live show, and then they used him again as part of the tape show. And what that meant is that in the meantime, Rick Rude buggered off from the WWF. I don't think he had a contract, turned up in WCW, on Nitro, which meant that he could do something that no one else has done before or since, or could do before or afterwards, because WCW doesn't exist anymore. But he appeared on both Raw and Nitro on the same night. That, friend, is incredible. Also, because he'd been in ECW until recently, there was still syndicated shows of him being shown on a Monday night. So there is a chance out there that he was actually on all 3 brands that one night. That will never ever happen again. That's incredible. Also, Rick Rude, best heel ever. He was a part of the DX and the NWO on the same night. That's incredible. Number 6 is the scaffold match from Starrcade '86. Of all the stupid stupid matches that are out there in wrestling, yeah? The scaffold match is the stupidest of the stupid, in my opinion. 20 feet in the air, only way to win is to knock your opponent off the scaffold. That just sounds daft in itself, doesn't it? On this night, it's the night of the Skywalkers. It's Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express, and Jim Cornette, the Express's manager, somehow ends up underneath the scaffold and takes one hell of a nasty bump. He comes down. He's meant to be caught by Big Bubba Rogers, who you will know as the Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man is nowhere to be seen. Well, he's not even nowhere to be seen. It's just there's no way he'll ever catch him because of where he is. Jim Cornette's legs come down, and his left leg just bends in the wrong direction, and his legs are fucked, you know. And yeah, so that's nice. Lance Horrible, very, very glad we don't see matches like that today, if you ask me. Number 5 is Goldberg winning the World Championship, July the 6th, 1998. I really wish I kept the video that me and Bobby Cash did of this Nitro, I really do. In the sold-out George Dome in front of 40,000 people, Goldberg beats Hall and in the opener, and then faces and beats Hogan in the main event and wins the championship. One of the best atmospheres ever, one hell of a moment, but in the doing so, they threw away so much money it was not even funny, because on pay-per-view people would have paid to see this. Stu Sachs, who's the editor of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which is a truly terrible magazine if you ask me, says it was better to do it on TV because more people saw it. And I suppose when you put it like that, you have got a fair point. But, you know, no. I think with the right build, because this match had 1 week's build, I think with the right build, this would have drawn ridiculous money on pay-per-view, personally. Number 4, I Quit from Starrcade 85. One of my favourite 80s matches, this one. Magnum TA, who is awesome and one of the most underrated wrestlers ever, versus Tully Blanchard in an incredibly brutal match. Tully was a cunt, pure and simple, and because he was a good cunt, it meant that you want to see him get the shit kicked out of him. So why not have a steel cage match where the only way to win is to get your opponent to say, I quit, yeah, this one's going to be bad. In the match, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, you know, normal nitpicking Mark just goes, look, 2 gimmicks, 1 match, fuck off. No, I like this one. I've got no problem with it. In the match, Tully Blanchard's manager, Baby Doll, chucks a wooden chair into the ring, and Tully smashes the chair off and gets this spike and drives it into Magnum's head. And then Magnum gets the spike, drills it into Tully's eye, so that Tully says, I quit. Tully, the fucking nutcase, fucking blades his arm in this match. So there's blood everywhere. And me and Danny Ace, just a little side note, me and Danny Ace, we stole the spike spot for our I Quit match back in UVW. That's a nice little touch. Yeah, they both pissed blood. I would thoroughly recommend this match. Go on, it's on the Starrcade DVD. It's number 2 as the best matches on Starrcade. Go and see that one. And then the last 3 are really not surprising, and honestly, there isn't really that much for me to add, especially seeing as this video is getting on for an hour long, if not more. Number 3 is the Outsiders invasion, Scott Hall's invasion of Nitro, May the 27th, 1996. Everyone knows the story, everyone knows how amazing it is, everyone knows what a game changer it is. It deserves to be in the top 3, quite rightly, alright? Number 2 is the WWF buying WCW, March 26, 2001. Surprise, this one isn't number 1, is the truth. I've got written down. Vince buys WCW after Bischoff Consortium pulls out of the running. Buys it for peanuts as well, buys it for absolutely nothing. Sad time in the business, game-changing night in the business, because after ECW got out of business, it meant that the WWF had the monopoly in the wrestling business. Some could argue that they still do. You know, and thousands and thousands and thousands of wrestling fans just went, fuck that, and turned off. Remember what I said before, Raw did a 5.6 to Nitro's 2.9 on the night that Russo won the championship. Combine that, you were up to an 8 or a 9. Yeah, Raw this last week or so pulled a 2.6. Think how many people stopped watching wrestling when WCW went out of business, or when the Monday Night Wars disappeared, or when the Attitude Era died. So many people that they've never got back. Pushing the network every 10 minutes on the fucking program, it makes people tune out. This is a fact. Anyway, yeah. There's a show clip to the last Nitro. One of the ones that I buzz off is the fact they show Greg Harry Helms doing the Vertebreaker, which you'll never see any of these days. Reviewed the last Nitro as part of my 10 years ago series in 2001. If you want to go and check that out. Lastly, of course, Who else would it be? Who is the third man? Bash at the Beach 96. Whose side is he on? Everyone knows this one. Everyone knows how awesome it was. Truly, again, game-changing night. Hogan turned heel for the first time in 20 years. Massive. Absolutely fucking huge. The NWO was created, and off we go for the war. So, there we go. I've waffled on for so very long. I've just got 2 paragraphs to talk about. We'll give some thoughts, and we'll talk about the other discs, alright? Overall thoughts. Someone needs to remind Vince McMahon sometimes that he won the war. You don't have to make a DVD where you're utterly burying your opponent. Sometimes it feels on this one like that's what they're doing. They really are. The way that they bury on some of the things that happened, especially the 2000 stuff, is way harsher than anything that they did on the WWE version of the Oh My God, in my opinion. That said, there are some very, very good moments on this DVD. Things that you look back and go, that was amazing. That was genuinely good. But the majority of this DVD feels like it's Vince saying, did you notice that we won, by the way? We won. Yeah, it really is crazy. Some of it's funny. Some of it is so bad it's funny. Some of the talking heads are great. Having Tony Schiavone there is brilliant. Terry Taylor, Heyman, Jim Ross, Hogan lies a lot, but no ever. Luger, Russo, Dusty, Cody Rhodes are all good. Some of them are pointless. Miz, for example, Summer Rae, Hornswoggle, and John Cena and Abdullah the Butcher all get one line, and you just go, I don't know why you're there. You didn't need to be there whatsoever. It's one of those DVDs. What I'd say about this one, I'd actually recommend this DVD. I'd go out and buy it if I were you. And it's one of those nights where. Think of those nights where if you're with your mates and they're wrestling fans and you want to watch something but you don't really fancy watching a pay-per-view, watch this. You will enjoy yourself, alright? And you can sit and giggle at how stupid it was, if nothing else. The matches on disc 2 and 3 relate to the moment, so it's a real mixed bag. On disc 3, for example, though, you've got 5 matches. 5 of them that are from the year 2000. The Human Torch match, the match in Great GAB where Goldberg turns heel, Judy Bagwell on a forklift truck match, the night that Vince Russo wins the belt, and the San Francisco 49ers match. All 5 of them are there. Trust me, you don't want to watch any of them at all. Alright? How's that on sound? Fucking A. I mean, there's some good moments in there, but I mean, Jesus Christ, they show you the fucking, on disc 2, Sumo Monster Truck match, and then the match where Giant won the championship straight away. Like, oh, I don't want to see this! So yeah, avoid the second and third disc is what I'd probably say. Alright, I've waffled on for so long that both my fucking hips are absolutely killing me because I've been stood up for so long because I'm an old, broken down man. Yeah, have you seen this DVD? What did you think of the compilation? What did you think of these WCW moments? Here's one for you. Is there anything missing? Is there anything? That's what I'd love you to do. Let me know down below what you think is missing from this. Ridiculous moments that happened in WCW that aren't on this. Alright? Or amazing moments that happened that aren't on this. That's your job for me, alright? Let me know down below. I'll be back on Monday. I'm going to do a Future Shot review, alright? Because I haven't done one of those for a while. So, yeah, I've been Mark P. Thank you so much for watching this ridiculously long-ass vid. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it around on the YouTube, on social media even. And yeah, leave me a comment down below. I really appreciate it. I've been Mark P. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you all soon.